job cuts are never good for the employees, but I think the investors will probably look at it positively because the stock's been down like 12% since their last earnings call and 30% year to date. And that's all because, slowing EV sales, price cuts. So the company needs to do something to address some of the short-term challenges they're facing.
So when I see news like this, it really makes me think, Steve, that maybe they see something fundamental in their business such that they have to look at a big fixed cost like people.
Yeah.
What's the company saying these days about where they see,
Well,
I guess, demand?
well, that's a good question. I think you got two questions there. First of all, fundamentally, they've done a lot of price cutting, in their operations, in the administrative side of things, in their manufacturing. So they're naturally kind of out of, they plucked out all the low-hanging fruits. There's not much to cut anymore other than looking at their human resources, and that's what they're doing at this time. Now, obviously, you don't want to cut, but I think they have to. If you look at Ford's earnings call last night, the market is really brutal. The margins was down was at negative 98% for Ford's EV business. That's worse than their third quarter. So from that, you can see the whole entire EV market is still facing, price cuts, slower demand, and that's, I think that's what Tesla is trying to address for 2024.
Hey, Steve, do we have an idea of when the trough might happen for EVs? Is it just going to take cheaper ones, or is it going to be actually more hybrid and that trough be really pushed out?
I think hybrid is a good kind of fill-in between now and when, EVs can take off. Our view is actually, around 2026, because I think that's when cost of manufacturing EVs will come down, with localization of battery production, more EV models out there, and every automaker right now is talking about the second generation of EV vehicles, the third generation of EV vehicles. They're actually designed on a very different platform than the ICE vehicles, the internal combustion engine vehicles, that is supposed to streamline production, cut the number of parts, and hopefully drive costs down to make it more affordable for the consumers.
So it's a 26 story. Will the charging infrastructure also be a 26 story?
Well, no, there are some spending at the moment to increase charging infrastructure, but I mean that's another bottleneck that the industry is facing. I think out in the West Coast, out in the East Coast, charging infrastructure are not of a big concern, but Central America is. So that's where the focus is, I think, in the next couple of years to really build up the charging infrastructure in that part of the country.
How many charging units do you have at the Princeton campus at Bloomberg right now?
Oh, it's interesting. If you go out to the parking lot here, you think it's a Tesla dealership out here. There's probably 50,
Wow.
40 to 50
Do people
charging
have
stations.
the cars? Like, are the Teslas actually being plugged in, or EVs?
Oh yeah, You'll see mostly Tesla. You'll see a couple of Volkswagen, a couple of Volvos, but
Because when
that's why it's.
when I was at
Yeah.
the Princeton campus, Steve, I guess I haven't been there since before the pandemic. Let's call it 5 years. 5 years ago we had 2. Now you're telling me we have 50. That is a good barometer, I think. Now I think Bloomberg is usually on the cutting edge of this stuff, but still interesting.
Yeah, and I wonder, did you get the idea that the charging was there, therefore you brought the EVs, or it's just a clientele that has the EVs? Unfair question, but what do you think?
That's a good question. It's all about the cost of ownership. I think you're right, Alix. Having the charging stations here, make it convenient for people to charge and really cut their monthly costs. Right, there's no fuel costs anymore with the EVs.